Part 2. Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Bulletin Lao Bulletin Si Bulletin Me. Chapter 11. In fact, not all attributes will be displayed when checking unit attributes. The demons like to escape and be lazy, and the dwarf laborers are good at stonework. Without special testing, you will never know. MK happened to find it when chatting with a friend. I searched the internet, and even the famous American game website couldn't find it. Calculate how many races and how many territories there are in Realm, and you can imagine how many secrets are hidden. The cooperation was quickly determined, and the source of gold was solved. Shen Xian was relieved. Say goodbye to MK, continue walking, circle the camp, and find players in the west and north respectively. The west is the territory of South African players, and the development is slow. Inside the camp, the demon overseer waved a flame whip, shouted in the abyss language, and commanded his men. The demons carried stones back and forth, leaving bloodstains on the barren black scorched earth. It's really miserable. It seems that South African players are not very keen on the game, otherwise the brutal and barbaric demon overseers would not find opportunities to abuse the demons. Shen Xian felt sorry for the demons and crossed the South African players off the threat list. The north is the territory of Iraqi and American players. Seeing their nationality, Shen Xian knew that they would definitely not be content. Thinking of the billions of barrels of crude oil that the Americans took away from Iraq 50 years ago, the Iraqi players had every reason to fight with the American players. It was 1 a.m. in real time. "I'm so tired, I want to sleep," Xiao Yunruo shouted. "It's only 1 o'clock. Don't you stay up late in college?" Shen Xian asked curiously. "Of course not. I'm a genius. I don't need to stay up late." Ignoring the girl's answer, Shen Xian said with his experience, "You should know that due to the different time zones, when Chinese players are sleeping, foreign players are still playing games. It is very easy to be attacked during this period." Xiao Yunruo hesitated. Looking at the well-organized camp and the dungeon of scale for the first time, he swallowed his words and said, "So. I'll go to Solo and find out about the players in the east. What do you think?" I didn't expect Miss Xiao to have a moment of enlightenment. Shen Xian admired it. Fortunately, she didn't hear it, otherwise he would definitely be beaten up again. After a short rest, Xiao Yunruo then took the mage apprentice to the east to level up, while Shen Xian stayed to continue to develop. Check the statistics of the territory: population 28, houses 6, mansion 1, warehouse 1, tent 1, research institute 1, farmland 4. Existing resources: food 1512, wood 932, stone 1081, gold 1500. Tip: player Ma Jiaqian, China, completed the construction of the assembly center and became the first player to upgrade the assembly center. The reward is 100 add 500 add 1500 reputation, 100 add 100 add 100 experience, and gold 100 add 100. Ma Jiaqian is indeed the chief master of the dungeon. He upgraded the assembly center so quickly. Not only that, for Ma Jiaqian, he would never upgrade too early for rewards and reputation. He must have made the decision after careful consideration. The additional rewards include several parts, which are composed of basic rewards, regional rewards, and world rewards. The first place in the region or the first place in the world will be broadcasted by the system, and then the second to 10th, 11th to 100th, 101st to 1000th and so on, and the amount will be calculated according to the difficulty. Reputation is the most common. In addition to being able to enter the advanced area of the NPC city, it can also attract heroes and people scattered around to exchange equipment, etc. Then there are experience, gold, resources, equipment, and the rarer ones are special tasks, which often have high rewards and can even drive the development of the game plot and affect the whole world. Seeing that the vest is so fast, Shen Xian is a little embarrassed. It seems that he should upgrade the assembly center. After upgrading the assembly center, you can get more construction permissions, and at the same time improve the life, magic, attack power, and defense of the building as a whole, which has the effect of improving civilization in the Empire series. Gathering Center, time 3 hours, wood 800, stone 800, food 800, gold 200, health 1200, defense 100, can recruit wizard apprentices, can accommodate 5 staff, appoint military chief and internal affairs chief. At the same time, in the face of the increasingly tense pressure of wood and stone, the lumberyard and quarry must be built as soon as possible. Lumberyard, small, time 10 minutes, wood 150, stone 250, gold 50, health 500, defense 20, can accommodate 5 lumberjacks, production 200 wood/day. Stone quarry, small, time 10 minutes, wood 250, stone 150, gold 50, health 500, defense 20, can accommodate 5 stone quarry workers, production 200 stone/day. The work efficiency of the lumberyard and stone quarry can be adjusted at any time. At present, the consumption of wood is greater than that of stone, so Shen Xian arranged 3 apprentices, equivalent to 5 standard farmers, to cut wood, and 2 apprentices to quarry. After having resource income, the development of the dungeon is on the right track. With the increase in population, more building opening permissions will be available. After upgrading the assembly center, there are 15 new buildings. Production buildings, mine, magic crystal, mine, mithril, cave, ground dragon. Manufacturing buildings, mill, mushrooms, blacksmith, weapons, armor, alchemy lab, talismans, scrolls, potions. Service buildings, appraisal, equipment shop, market, tavern, inn, garden, well. Military buildings, fence, watchtower. At the same time, obtain the upgrade rights of the building. The gravel road is upgraded to a brick road, and the moving speed is further improved, while the satisfaction of the surrounding is also improved. The simple houses are upgraded to ordinary houses, accommodating 10 people, and are 2-story buildings. As long as the satisfaction and prosperity of the surroundings meet the requirements, the event of building upgrade can be triggered. The reason why Shen Xian chose to upgrade the assembly center instead of the Spire, Research Institute, is that Miss Xiao does not have a sufficient understanding of the game. Although the magic tower is managed by him, the user is still a magician, and the knight cannot be asked to study magic. Even if the Research Institute is upgraded to a spire and buildings such as libraries and magic gardens are built, there is still a lack of people who can use them. After setting the offline status, he went offline with peace of mind and went to sleep. Online game DungeonMaster. Author, Buletin Lao Buletin Si Buletin Me. Chapter 12. Ha 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 ha, Kami Yakun, look at how excellent these 2 wizard apprentices are. Not only are they stunning in appearance, but they are also hot-tempered. They are really the ultimate goal that we, the masters of the cultivation game, dream of, Inagawa said proudly, breathing heavily, looking at Mr. Lin's chest lustfully. In response to him, it was Mr. Lin's angry eyes. Shen Xian, who saw this scene, shouted, "What happened? Why did the Japanese come here? Didn't they ask Miss Xiao to investigate? Could they come from farther away?" Seeing that the camp was full of recently dead inferior demons and wizard apprentices, as well as burning flames and charred ruins, and Mr. Lin's pitiful appearance, Shen Xian had made up his mind to keep them. Not just any unknown junior can bully him. Since he dares to challenge, he must be brave enough to take responsibility. The remaining 30 inferior demons and 20 wizard apprentices began to act under his command. Shen Xian did not appear. He likes to fight unexpectedly. When Inagawa and Kamiya tried to discipline Mr. Lin, the flames of the inferior demons were aimed at the Dark Elves. The Dark Elves with strong perception soon discovered that something was wrong, but it was too late. The sound of burning flames rang out, and a Dark Elf was killed instantly. The two were shocked. They didn't know how the inferior demons reorganized themselves and wanted to take Mistrilin as a hostage, but a mysterious figure appeared, blocked in the middle, and hugged the girl's slender body. What made them vomit blood was that the moment they left, they were attacked at the same time. Countless inferior demons swarmed in and separated them from the Dark Elves. Organized inferior demons and unorganized inferior demons are completely two concepts. If the former are bandits, the latter are regular troops. The uniform fireball attacks and the strategy and tactics of separation and annihilation made the two suffer. The inferior demons began to shoot the Dark Elves one by one. Inagawa and Kamiya hurriedly controlled the Dark Elves to disperse. Shen Xian smiled. He didn't want to kill the Dark Elves at all. What he really wanted to kill were the two little Japanese. Inagawa's life suddenly dropped by 100. He was panicking and hurriedly drank the potion. Unexpectedly, the figure who rescued the girl rushed out and swung the sword at him. Inagawa had no way to escape, and the Dark Elves were scattered everywhere, unable to gather firepower, so he could only cooperate with Shengu. Originally, Inagawa was a warrior and Shengu was a priest. It was still difficult to kill them. But when Shengu wanted to chant the magic, there would always be a bad demon interrupting his spell, or leaving the countdown to complete the remaining 0.1 seconds. They realized that they had met a master, and there was no time to regret, so they could only choose to fight hard. The Dark Elves were very powerful, and under normal circumstances, they were more than enough to fight against two wizard apprentices, but they were unlucky to meet Shen Xian. Every time the bad demon was about to die, Shen Xian would command the bad demon to retreat. This tactic was very common. If the firepower output could be guaranteed, retreating would not have any effect. The problem was that the two made an unforgivable mistake at the beginning, separating the Dark Elves. Inagawa was desperate. He lost more than he gained. If the player hadn't gone online, this would never have happened. He noticed the player's appearance, black hair, yellow skin. Inagawa shouted in panic, "We are compatriots, don't kill me." Shen Xian snorted, "Who is your compatriot?" He swung his sword and killed him back home. Shengu knew that he was about to die. Without the support of warriors and thieves, the priest could only be slaughtered. Instead of resisting, it would be better to die peacefully. He waited, but for a long time. Mist Erlin, use magic, there are 4 points of life left, kill him and you can upgrade. Shengu saw an incredible scene. The mysterious figure grabbed the captured girl and told her to kill herself quickly. The girl understood and drove the inferior demon to complete the kill. He couldn't die happily before he died. Shengu fell to the ground and remembered the player's game name, Lord. Tip, player Lord, China, killed player Dongda Duo Inagawa, Japan, and gained 100 experience and 5 reputation. Tips, Mistrilin killed the player Dongda Duo Kamiya, Japan, and gained 120 experience and 5 reputation. Mistrilin has been upgraded. Level 5 is very high for Shen Xian, who doesn't level up much. Needless to say, the life and magic power have been improved, and the skills of corrosion and curse have been obtained. Now Mistrilin has finally changed from a production unit to a combat unit. In addition, her familiars have changed. The 3 inferior demons have been transformed into 3 half-human high little fire demons. The little fire demons are proficient in fire-type spells, do not consume magic power, and can easily drive flames and lava. There is also something that Japanese players exploded: pure robes. Pure robes, ordinary, defense 8, constitution 2, wisdom 3, spirit 3. A good little top-quality product. The biggest gain is the improvement of Mistrilin's favorability. There are also captured Dark Elves. Dark elves are easy to change their positions, and it is easy to ask them to surrender. With a few more combat forces, the only loss in resources has not been compensated. He could conclude that the Japanese players were coming from the east. If Xiao Yunruo hadn't investigated carefully, this wouldn't have happened. The phone call reached Xiao Yunruo's home. Because her father was away from home, Xiao Yunruo always lived alone. Her life was free and she ate and slept as she pleased. Yesterday's trip to the kingdom left her wanting more. The magnificent and mysterious underground world opened its doors to her. At the same time, most importantly, she finally learned how to play solo and completed the task assigned by Shen Xian, which made her extremely happy. Finally, she no longer needed to rely on Shen Xian. She relied on her own strength to wander between light and shadow, challenge evil monsters, and search for lost artifacts. In fact, if Shen Xian heard her thoughts, he would definitely suggest her to play Baldur's Gate 30, at least it didn't require management, just experience. When she woke up in the morning, she always felt that she had forgotten something. When Shen Xian called her, she remembered that she had forgotten to investigate. Miss Yao was speechless in the face of Shen Xian's questioning. She was in the wrong first, and there was nothing she could do. Forget it, Shen Xian shook his head, looking disappointed. Forget it, the girl asked curiously, are there no punishment measures? I won't use my father's name to pressure you. I know you won't, why don't you treat me to a meal? Xiao Yunruo was stunned, you don't have any intentions, do you? Of course not, I want you to treat me to Xixiao Palace, you can just pay. Xixiao Palace? Do you think I'm a rich woman? One of the most upscale hotels in Shanghai, the cheapest dishes start at 500, I won't let your conspiracy succeed, Xiao Yunruo replied, and finally agreed. Just when she wanted to hang up, Shen Xian said, wait, there's something else, don't you want to make up for it? Xiao Yunruo sent a series of question marks. 2 Japanese players have just been killed, don't you want revenge? Of course, hearing his suggestion, the girl was very excited, but limited by her strength, she said, but me and the mage apprentice are not enough. They are now level 5, just harass them. You go to the bank first, and we'll talk about it when we get there. After saying that, Shen Xian went out to buy breakfast and hurried to the bank. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Buletin Lao Buletin Si Buletin Me. Chapter 13. Songdao originally didn't want to help the two of them, but when he thought of the anxious looks in the eyes of the 2 wretched boys, he felt disgust in his heart and aroused an unknown fire. However, she received the Obsidian Spire blueprint given by Ashrog, the 2nd-level monarch of the Abyss world. As long as she obtains enough souls, she can transfer all her units to different professions. With different levels of promotion, job transfer is a qualitative leap. For example, a knight transfers to a dragoon, and a dragoon transfers to a dragoon general. In addition to the upper limit of the number of job transfers at each stage, there are also many conditions that need to be met for job transfer, such as prosperity, satisfaction, as well as the territory's requirements for architecture, magic, characters, etc., are very complicated things. However, after changing jobs, the attribute growth of the profession will be improved, and special skills such as riding can be used, and the effect is extremely obvious. As long as they collect enough souls, the evil devil will be promoted to the mad devil, and the little devil will be promoted to the devil. Even if he does not become an elite, he will be able to sweep thousands of armies. Kamigo, I hope your hunch is correct, Matsuhima said to Kamiya seriously, dormant in the darkness waiting for her opponent. Her lemurs noticed movement and reported 2 targets moving to the west of the territory. Female player, Matsushima frowned and asked, "Didn't you say it was a male player?" "That's right, maybe it's a strange player who got lost." "Matsushima-kun, you have to keep her for me so that I can have fun." Inakawa immediately felt relieved when he heard that it was a female player. Songdeo snorted coldly and stopped answering. He observed the traces of the young mage and sent out evil demons to test her. China, Shanghai, a bank. What is true is false, what is false is true. Miss Xiao, please retreat first. Now your every move is controlled by others, Shen Xian said seriously. Mr. Huang whispered, "Xiao Shen, be more polite to Miss Xiao. How can you do this? She is a girl, and she is not as strong as us men." When Mr. Huang said this, he felt something was wrong. The tall figure of his wife emerged, and he shivered. Fortunately, she was not there, so he stopped hastily. He patted Shen Xian on the shoulder cheerfully and said, "Ha, by the way, the official exchange of game currency will be open in a few days. Although I support you very much. Playing games requires a balance between work and rest, right? Let's update the bank's database system first and then talk about it." Hearing this, Shen Xian remembered that there were still important things to do in the bank, unlike Xiao Yunruo, a non-staff member, who didn't have to be busy with this or that. As a financial agency of the state, the file storage system obviously needs special treatment. Helpless, it was only then that Shen Xian discovered that it was not always a good thing to have only one system administrator in the bank. Although he really wanted to launch the game, he was serious and responsible and decided to finish it. Xiao Yunruo found that the annoying reminder that she wanted to hear had disappeared. She knew that Shen Xian was at work, and she swore in her heart that she would never die, as he would make him laugh. Thinking of the articles she read yesterday, she made up her mind to start fighting alone. He came to the Z9900, a large enterprise-level server imported by IBM, logged into the administrator account, connected to the system intranet, and started updating the database. The Kingdom Company has a vacillating attitude towards financial exchange. It only entrusts several world-famous banks with agency business. This cannot eliminate underground black market transactions, but it is conducive to maintaining financial stability in the game world. You must know that in terms of economic control capabilities, Citibank, Morgan Bank, and Daewoo Bank are all experienced. Unless they invest hundreds of billions into the game in the real world, they will not make any waves at all. The economic stability of the game world is conducive to investment. Attracting more players. Xiao Yunruo lay in the shadow of the rock and quietly observed the movement around her. There was no one everywhere, and she could only hear the sound of water. The enchantingly dressed succubus slowly appeared at the entrance of the cave, leading a miscellaneous army of lemurs and balrogs. The succubus looked serious. Although her natural charm made her charming, it had no effect on Xiao Yunruo, who was also a woman. Songdeo raised her head, and her keen perception allowed her to discover something. She waved her sword alertly, and several lemurs rushed out and began to inquire. Xiao Yunruo hurriedly asked her apprentices to rush into the camp and destroy it. Songdeo was not there, and the lemurs who had lost their command were in chaos. "Sneak attack," Matsushima muttered, frowning slightly on her graceful face. She bit her flaming lips. It was hard to imagine that a lost female player would take the initiative to attack. This is too unusual. Unless she is prepared, otherwise how could one do this? For safety reasons, she cautiously retracted her defense and retreated. Here, the mage apprentice who was causing trouble was not having an easy time either. Despite the chaos, several fireballs would always attack him. His life was originally very small, but within a few seconds he was seriously injured and had to leave. In fact, when Songdeo returned to the camp, he immediately laughed when he saw the poor mage apprentice in the camp. He wanted to harass him even with this small force. It's really overestimating one's abilities. She directly released the devil's unique charm skill and commanded the army to surround him. The charm skill can make male units lose control, and even make them defect in battle at high levels. Although this is a very practical skill, in fact, Matsushima doesn't like to use it. 922. The warning sound on Kamiya's cell phone rang again. He didn't know which Buddha he had offended, and he kept tossing himself. He could only ask Songdeo for help, hoping that she could solve it. Matsushima is not a very idle player. What she likes to do is leveling up and completing tasks. Helping others has no benefit and will delay development. However, Kamiya's request for help cannot be ignored. She helplessly knocked down a few soldiers and made a profit. Returned to camp after a few hundred experience points. Looking at the messy camp, Songdeo shouted angrily, "Harassment! Harassment again!" Although the loss was small, anyone who saw it would still be angry. It seems that the opponent is also a player who is good at harassment, which is very challenging. The development of players who are good at harassment will be affected. Unlike real-time strategy, you can command as you want. If you cannot guarantee to be on the scene in person, you can only rely on NPC. 945. Xiao Yunruo was running away, with several high-speed fire demons behind her. Although she had just made damage with the S-shaped movement, she was still discovered and chased by the opponent. 1009. Songdeo found that the opponent was very interested in playing hide-and-seek with her, so she changed her tactics and waited for her to fall into the trap. The harassment continued. Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Bulletin Lao Bulletin Si Bulletin Me. Chapter 14. Shen Xian browsed the information and looked at the server boredly. The progress bar jumped from 1% to 100%, then from 1% to 100%, and started over and over again until it was completed. Actuan, you're here too. A familiar figure lit up on the screen. The middle-aged man in front of him has a Chinese character face and short hair. He has a slovenly beard and disheveled clothes. His name is Zhao Tianming. He is 37 years old. He was Shen Xian's senior student 9 years ago and is also the chief engineer of Xinhui Group responsible for the development of Kingdom. Old Zhao Shen Xian shouted with a smile, looked at his appearance, and asked, "Are you not married yet?" "No," Zhao Tianming lowered his head depressedly, "we have been running long distance for 10 years, and I wonder why we haven't gotten together yet." "Why do you just say this when we meet?" "There is no way, Lao Zhao, you and your senior sister are really making slow progress." Shen Xian smiled. "Hey, let's not talk about it. Why did you give up in the first place, Xian? What a great opportunity, why do you have to live like this? Simple is simple, what's the point?" "Xiaoao. I said, should you find a girlfriend to urge you on? You actually gave up on such a good opportunity. Do you know how angry the old man is?" Hearing this, Shen Xian lowered his head guiltily, looked around, and shook his head helplessly. "Stop talking, anyway, I can play the game in peace, so what's the difference?" "I don't know what you think." Zhao Tianming shook his head. "After the database is updated, the server-side program will be installed inside the system. By then, it can handle transactions of 20 million units of traffic. Remember to work hard." Helplessly encouraged Shen Xian. In short, he had to hang up because he was busy with work. Shen Xian returned to the game. The damaged territory was quickly repaired. Under the leadership of Mist Aaron, the injured lemurs returned to work, the collapsed houses were rebuilt, and the territory developed in an orderly manner. Lord Chen Xian seeing Shen Xian appear, Mist Aaron was extremely surprised. Shen Xian hugged Mist Aaron, and the girl's fragrant smell made him unable to let go for a long time. Sir Mist Aaron's face turned red, but she did not resist or obey. Shen Xian smiled evilly, looked at the lovely Mist Aaron, and let her go. Today's salary expenditure is 17 gold, and the territory's tax revenue is 37 gold. Please check it. When you open the message bar, the first thing you see is the territory's financial revenue and expenditure statistics. The territory currently has a small population and insufficient spare labor, so the tax rate is very low. Of course, if the tax rate is raised, gold income will increase. However, the territory satisfaction will decline. After completing the upgrade, the health of all buildings has been greatly improved, as well as units such as lemurs and wizard apprentices. Compared with the shabby tents, the assembly center is much more luxurious. 10 meters by 10 meters in size, with rock walls, devil sculptures, and several huts in the middle relying on each other, with simple wooden tables, chairs, candlesticks, and fireplaces placed inside. Lord Shenxian, Ilya said she wants to be a staff member. Miss Aaron said playfully. Ilya? Who is she? Has anyone advanced? Shenxian asked happily. It's Ilya who was born with me, the girl explained. Shenxian understood that it turned out to be her, a witch with the attribute of hard work. He called up Ilya's attribute bar and eagerly checked what changes had occurred. Unexpectedly, it was just a name, nothing changed. I was a little disappointed, but I was relieved to think that only a few of the thousands of units recruited during the closed beta could advance. Appointing staff at the gathering center can improve the efficiency of territory construction and resource production. Shenxian quickly appointed wizards with hard work attributes as territory staff, and then began to arrange construction tasks. Fences and guard towers. The fence is about 3 meters high and can defend against attacks by primary units. The sentry tower is about 5 meters high. It is built in an open high place and can see the movement in the distance. The captured dark elf has a wide field of vision, which is perfect for looking into the distance. It's a pity that the dark elf captured him is still useful, otherwise he might be able to. The sorcerer's apprentice has gained a new summoned unit, the Little Balrog. Little Balrog, primary level, health value 90, magic value 150, attack power 15, defense power 5, skill fireball. If you retain the lemur, you will maintain your advantage in resource production, and by summoning the Little Balrog, your combat effectiveness will be greatly improved. Shenxian went out with 8 wizard apprentices and 24 Little Balrogs. There are fences in the camp for defense. Without siege machines, it will be impossible to capture it for a while. The reinforcements Xiao Yunruo had been waiting for finally arrived. When she saw Shenxian's figure, she rushed over and asked him for the potion. Potion? Why don't you make it yourself? Looking at Xiao Yunruo's tattered robe and the beautiful beauty inside, Shenxian took a few glances and took out the primary healing potion and said, "There is only one bottle like this." Of course Xiao Yunruo would not be polite to him. She drank the potion and expected Shenxian's army to sweep across thousands of troops. Unexpectedly, he made no move and asked seriously, "What types of troops do they have and how many are they?" "What? Aren't there 2 male players, one fat and one thin? Do they have helpers?" Shenxian fell into deep thought. His experience in directing thousands of battles in closed beta tests told him that even if there were helpers, they would not be many. Songdao felt that the atmosphere was a little abnormal. Finally, Kamiya and Inagawa came online, dragging a few newly recruited dark elves with them, preparing to cooperate in the battle. Unexpectedly, the enemy disappeared. "What's going on?" Kamiya looked around. The territory was just like a swarm of locusts. He complained about Matsushima's incompetence, but he still said respectfully, "Matsushima, is it time to set off?" The 3 of them were going to gather the army to harass the place where they failed in the morning. They believed that the 50 soldiers of the 3 players were enough. The 50 soldiers didn't look very good, but they were all combat units. Matsushima had another idea in her mind that the opponent might be 2 players, but she didn't care even if that was the case. At this time, the missing girl mage appeared. Inagawa and Kamiya were really amazed to see Xiao Yunruo's appearance. She was a top-notch beauty, no less beautiful than Matsushima. Except for her smaller breasts, the rest of her body was convex and concave. Matsushima, can you keep her? This Chinese female player is really good looking, Inagawa said with saliva flowing. What if she is trying to lure the tiger away from the mountain? Songdao is not like the two idiots, and will not be easily fooled. The brief fight with the young mage just now made her think highly of the female player, not her strength, but her awareness. She did everything she could to hit the opponent's economy as much as possible. If it's just like this, is there still time to develop? Or is she not alone? Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Bulletin Lao Bulletin Si Bulletin Me. Chapter 15. Songdao made up her mind to attack the opponent's camp. According to the current marching speed, it would only take 20 minutes. She knew the strength of the two of them very well. After all, they had some level of carelessness. The strategic level that could kill them and defeat them would not be too high. Worse, since a battle will happen sooner or later, it is better to curb his development before he develops. The young mage looked at the unmoved troops in the camp and thought to herself that she clearly looked down on me. She silently recited a few spells and fired the energy arrows, then ran away. Inagawa, don't chase her, Songdao scolded when he saw Inagawa running after her. Our opponents are coming to kill her, why should we let her go? Inagawa asked jealously. In fact, he had been attracted by the girl's pure appearance for a long time. Even if he couldn't other people in the game, he could still tease her. Inagawa had already noticed that Matsushima was unhappy, and cursed in his heart, bitch, a bitch made by thousands of people, and angrily rushed out with the dark elf. Songdao had known that this would be the result, so he commanded the army and still headed west. 15 minutes later. When there were no remaining troops in their camp, Shen Xian launched a campaign of destruction against the camp. Dozens of vicious little balrogs waved fireballs and started setting fires everywhere. The wooden structures burst into flames, but the rock structures were spared. Since the gathering center was not upgraded, the building was helpless in the face of such an attack. Shen Xian even sent a few small balrogs to wait in front of the building recruiting dark elves. As long as there were dark elves, they would be killed immediately. 40, 30, 35 he counted the experience he had gained proudly, thinking that it would be much easier to fight with a rookie. Compared to the top 100 players in the world, the two of them were really good at it. The level jumped wildly, reaching level 8 in an instant. Baga, Daoquan was furious after receiving the news. He had no choice but to lead his troops back even though he knew that the other party was playing a trick on him. If his territory is destroyed, what qualifications does he have to be on an equal footing with Songdao? Not far from Shen Xian's territory, Songdao's demon army was stationed. Looking inside the territory, she said, "You said that this player is developing faster than you? Why didn't you tell me earlier?" The ability in real-time strategy can be cultivated innately. Both the Warcraft series and the Starcraft series can greatly train players. However, the ability in management and construction requires playing Kingdom to possess it. If the opponent's players are developing at an alarming rate, there is only one answer: participate in the closed beta. This is such a terrible message. Kamiya didn't notice it at all, otherwise how could she get involved in this muddy water? Perhaps, the other party was already prepared. The human sea tactic will never be outdated in any era. If there are allies, as long as the number is sufficient, it will be enough to drown them. Arriving at the outskirts of the camp, what came into view were towers and tight fences. The layout of the fence is very particular. In addition to saving as much wood as possible to achieve the best protection purpose, it must also be adjacent to the road so that the unit can repair it efficiently. Seeing the opponent's dense layout and integrated defense, Songdao felt bad and had no choice but to lead his army and rush over. There are not many units in the simple territory, only a few newly produced wizard apprentices. When Daoquin returned, he saw that there were not many buildings left in the camp. There were ruins and ruins everywhere, and there was a billowing black fog everywhere. It also carried the stench of corpses and the choking smell of smoke. Not only that, even he was affected by it. He received a warm welcome, and the moment he stepped into the camp, countless burning fireballs swept toward him. Facing the sudden kill, Inakawa, who was level 5, was defenseless and happened to be standing in the middle of the team. Hundreds of damage points instantly took away his life, and the army that lost its command began to flee in all directions. In an instant, everything was destroyed. Inakawa felt like he wanted to die. The most depressing thing was that a certain girl mage's last hit before his death took away his life with a bang, and he heard her excited laughter. Haha, I succeeded in the last hit again. Inakawa really wanted to buy a piece of tofu. Killed. Shen Xian saw it and said in his heart, I don't know her, I don't know her. It's just a last hit. I get 30% of the experience value. Are you so happy to use it? Or is it self-comfort like AQ? While Shen Xian despised Miss Xiao, he did not hesitate. He immediately raided the entire camp and took away everything he could. He hurried back with the remaining 4 or 5 stone houses that could not be demolished. Surround Wei and rescue Zhao. Songdao, who was familiar with the ancient Chinese 36 strategies, said to himself after reading the battle report. Who is faster? Although there is a fence, don't you know that the little Balrog's fireball is the natural nemesis of the fence? What's more, there is no defense at all in the camp. Songdao noticed that the resource construction of the mysterious players was very good. Lumber mills, quarries, and farmland are all backed by fences. Anyone who wants to destroy them will be ruthlessly attacked by the city defense troops. 1, 2, 3. She calculated the number of players' resources, the disproportionate number of buildings, and units. It was hard to imagine how Inagawa and Kamiya succeeded in sneak attacks. The players hadn't gotten up at that time, and we took advantage of them, Kamiya said angrily, feeling extremely depressed after the camp suffered a fatal blow. Aren't you worried about his revenge? Matsushima asked. You said his name is Lord. Kamiya nodded. Is he some big shot in the gaming industry? Songdao thought hard and couldn't come up with an answer, so he said, I haven't heard of it. It's probably a trumpet owned by a certain master. Shen Xian will definitely be depressed when he hears this. Songdao started the attack here. Her command level was quite good. The little fire demons attacked very rhythmically. Often, the wizard apprentices on the top of the fence had just released magic, and the little fire demons immediately began to advance. However, the female wizards in the city were no less inferior. Whenever she attacked, she would send inferior demons to build fences where there were gaps. The little fire demons in low terrain could not attack the inferior demons on the top of the fence, so they could only compare the speed of construction and repair and the speed of attack and destruction. Noticing the opponent's strategy, Songdao began to divide her troops to destroy. Her tactics were extremely insidious, attacking the fences close to the buildings. The fences close to the buildings are closely integrated with the buildings, so they cannot be repaired or built from the inside. The fence can last for 1 minute, and Shen Xian will return in 25 minutes. Aren't you worried about the camp? Worry, Shen Xian said confidently, but I ask you, what will she do if there are no resources in the camp? What do you mean? Xiao Yunruo was puzzled. What is the first thing a player does after breaking through the enemy camp? How do I know? Kill people or set fire? It's to grab resources. This is a conditioned reflex developed by players who play strategy games. Do you know what conditioned reflex is? Did you fail biology in high school? Everyone doesn't know it. Conditioned reflex is a stimulus that originally could not cause a certain reaction. Through a learning process, that is, this stimulus is given at the same time as another stimulus that can cause a reaction, so that they establish a connection with each other. that is, a connection between conditioned stimulus and unconditioned reaction. Well, I asked you if you know about conditioned reflexes, and you really have conditioned reflexes. Shen Xian was speechless. I'm afraid you've given all your high school knowledge back to the teacher. Do you want me to call you Teacher Xiao? Shen Xian looked at Miss Xiao's chest and said in a deep voice, in short, according to the survey, 95% of players will do this, because there is usually no resistance in the city after the city is breached. Haha, World War II games are not within the scope of discussion. It's not enough to destroy the buildings, right? He explained clearly, therefore, it will take a lot of time just to find resources. Have you noticed that the models used for warehouses and houses are similar? Western European style design, 400 million polygons, and the accuracy of the textures are exactly the same. You can't tell anything from the appearance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Buletin Lao Buletin Si Buletin Me. Chapter 16. The magic crystal mine several kilometers away from the camp. Luo Shanda commanded 7 or 8 wizard apprentices to pile up thousands of units of resources transported from the camp, including houses, mines, and warehouses. With management attributes, he was very familiar with urban construction and was the 3rd unit with a name discovered by Shen Xian. It was his honor to serve the Lord. He was loyal and patiently solved the mission given to him by the Lord, mining magic crystal mines. There were scenes of large-scale construction everywhere. Low buildings surrounded the mines, and long roads connected the interior of the mines, continuously mining the magic crystal ore shining with purple light. Magic crystal ore is a necessary resource for territory construction. The output here alone is enough to give 1,000 gold/day income. Mr. Matsu's Hima, we finally succeeded. Seeing Matsushima's demon army rushing into the camp, Shengu was very happy. Don't be happy too early, Matsu's Hima replied coldly. The 2 armies drove straight in, trying to find a warehouse to store resources, but found that they couldn't find it. Why not capture their units and interrogate them, Kamiya suggested. But there are almost no units in the territory that can be asked for information. Lesser demons. If you are proficient in the Abyss language and are interested in wasting time communicating with the lesser demons, you may find something. The creatures in the Abyss are chaotic and disorderly, and it is almost impossible to communicate with them. Matsu's Hima surged. Kamiya found that he could not find the location where the resources were stored. Thinking of the harassment in the territory, he was very angry and suggested, why don't we destroy their buildings? It's not that easy. Didn't you notice that the other party's commander hasn't appeared yet? Those who can command the battle so flexibly are either NPCs with high growth or players. Now there is only one gathering center and one research institute in the territory, so it can be basically determined that the other party has 2 people. Matsu's Hima is worried that if the buildings are demolished forcefully, it will waste a lot of time and may not be able to effectively hit the opponent's economy. After upgrading to the gathering center, the buildings have a lot of blood and thick skin. Unless they are full-time demolition units, the effect is very poor. If the other party can mobilize reinforcements, such as other players in nearby territories, she will be surrounded. Alliance or opposition, sometimes it is difficult to grasp. Because of cultural and historical differences between countries, players' ideas will be very different. Unless you are an excellent diplomat who can fully play the strategy of making friends with distant countries and attacking nearby ones, it will increase countless variables. Caution is the key to Songdao's success. If you look back at her growth history, you can find that she has won every battle with stability, mostly using down-to-earth tactics and rarely taking risks. She will take all possibilities into consideration to deal with any situation. In the distance, Shen Xian's army finally returned to the camp. From a distance, the fence was dilapidated and shaky. It seems that Miss Lin commanded the remaining troops in the camp quite well, delaying the opponent for a lot of time. 30 little fire demons, 20 little demons. Little demon, primary, HP 150, map 100, ATK 30, def 5, skills desecration, curse. All of them are combat units. The opponent is quite strong. Those who can gather a large number of troops in a short time also have a very good management level. However, compared with the ability to encircle, Shen Xian is definitely better than her. No, the army has appeared. Shen Gu noticed the dense shadows in the distance and became excited. Several little fire demons standing guard on the top of the fence were easily defeated by Xiao Yunruo's magic and began to attack. After a day of training, Miss Xiao is no longer a rookie. With the cooperation of the mage apprentice, the total damage of 2 energy arrows of 200 is enough to kill any unit in seconds. Simply put, according to Shen Xian, it is used to pull out nail households. Because it is located in the opponent's camp and does not carry production units, Songdao cannot use the tactic of blocking the intersection to delay time as Miss Lin did before. Now, they are competing for local control ability. I remember when the third generation of the World of Warcraft series was released, there was a map called Footman War, in which infantry units would be produced at a fixed time, and then, the same type of soldiers and the same number would start a fierce battle with each other. It was somewhat similar to the scene in the map, all of which were demon units, all of which were the same number, and Shen Gu could be completely ignored. Shen Gu was very depressed. When the battle started, several fireballs flew over inexplicably, and he was immediately killed instantly, and was reborn for the second time. The remaining dark elves fell one by one under Xiao Yunruo's restraint. Matsuhima had no time to be distracted, as she was facing a difficult battle. The center of the battlefield was like a meat grinder, with demons falling to the ground one after another, corpses everywhere, blood everywhere, no tactics, no strategies, but even so, more of her demons fell. It felt like I had practiced peerless martial arts, but was still raped by a flower thief 100 times, which made people feel extremely uncomfortable. She originally thought that she could win in a head-on confrontation with her own experience and skills. Facts have proved how true the saying "there are always people who are better than you" is. In terms of speed, reaction, same technical conditions, same level data, why did she still lose? This psychological gap made her feel very painful, but she still gritted her teeth and persisted. Ordinary players would have collapsed when they saw their units being slaughtered like rape, and they would log off to relieve their sorrow, so as not to feel bad. Succubi are not a race that excels at attacking. The aura and domain they possess can give the surrounding friendly forces the greatest degree of reinforcement and the enemy forces the greatest degree of weakening. They are a very special unit. Shen Xian watched from afar. He was used to wearing heavy armor and always hid behind. Although he wanted to rush to the front, he would definitely die miserably. He now has the skills of heroic strike and barrier aura. If he wants to kill people, he should wait until later to bully the smaller characters. He is level 9, Xiao Yunruo is level 12, and the other party is not clear. When the dust settled, when Songdao's units were killed or injured, Shen Xian still had more than 30 demons left, which was caused by Songdao's desperate shooting and siege. "So you are a female player?" Shen Xian looked at Songdao's appearance and said. "Kill me." "Well, there is no point in me killing you to gain some experience. It's better for you to do it, Miss Xiao." Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Bulletin Lao Bulletin Si Bulletin Me. Chapter 17. After the battle, Miss Xiao's level improved the fastest. Level 13 was at the top of the level rankings. Of course, it was still far behind professional players. Rome wasn't built in a day. At least, he was very satisfied with Miss Xiao's IQ and talent for playing online games, which needed to be cultivated slowly. The crisis in the neighborhood was temporarily lifted and reconstruction began. Many production wizard apprentices who happen to survive have had their levels improved and can control 4 lemurs, thus improving their production efficiency. Although we have suffered a blow, not everyone can have smooth sailing. Sooner or later we will have to fight. What is the difference between fighting now and fighting in the future? Repairing damaged buildings and clearing collapsed debris takes resources and time. 2 hours later, the lost building was put back into operation and new construction began. Assembly Center. Lord's sword, haha, I didn't expect something like this to fall out, but I always feel that the Japanese female player should have something better in her hands. Lord's sword, excellent, attack power 30, defense power 10, constitution 10, reduce damage taken by 10. Shen Xian held the Lord's sword and said, the attributes of a female player should be like this: health 460, attack power 70, defense power 15. Xiao Yunruo felt dizzy after hearing his estimate. She could tell whether he was human or not. Actually, you can read the article The Value of Applied Mathematics in Online Games written by a prostitute but not an artist. This is his university graduation thesis. Although it is not comprehensive, it is enough for you. Xiao Yunruo blurted out, professing your body instead of your art. Is he the strongest online game player in China? The strongest fart? Shen Xian thought disdainfully. As far as he knew, there were at least 100 players around the world who could easily ravage him, deliberately hiding their strength, and there were too many masters hiding behind the scenes. Unlike sports stars, whose income mainly consists of salary, bonuses, and advertising fees, which are very transparent, online game players' income can come from many sources, and it is impossible to investigate clearly. For example, he knew that Oldman, rank 732nd in the WTP ranking, manages the game business for the Cleveland Consortium in the United States. His own strength is not revealed, but the Gaming Guild Light organized by the Cleveland Consortium has an economic value in the game of up to $100 billion. However, seeing Xiao Yunruo's admiration, he decided not to destroy her young heart and pretended not to know. Seeing Shen Xian's smiling face, Xiao Yunruo was puzzled. Could it be that he was a fan who only sold his body but not his art? It's possible. Even the college graduation thesis who sells his body but not his art knows that he does know him very well. Nearby, Miss Aaron obediently listened to the conversation between the two and remained silent. It wasn't until the two of them looked at each other speechless that the girl timidly asked, Master Shen Xian, how do you want to deal with the Dark Elf captives? By killing Kamiya and Inagawa, Shen Xian earned 5 or 6 Dark Elf prisoners. Dark Elves are not a unit that is good at producing resources, so it is a waste of resources. Moreover, their shadow magic and combat skills require technical cooperation to be used. Now they are raising them. They serve no purpose. He suddenly thought of something very interesting during the closed beta. He wonders what the result will be this time. As mentioned before, Carlos will send new recurring tasks when he comes again. However, in fact, there are countless hidden tasks in the country, which need to meet special conditions to be triggered. Some tasks are very simple, such as the hidden tasks tested by several sect members during the closed beta, donating gold and donating beautiful women. Gold is hard currency. It is indispensable whether it is the underground world or the surface world, the main material plane or the submaterial plane. As long as there is gold, it can be exchanged for a large number of rewards when presented to the envoy who issues the task. Food, wood, and stone are not within the scope of the discussion. The Fallen Temple receives more than millions of resources every day, so why does it care about resource donations from hundreds of units? Donating beautiful women is more random than donating gold. Lords have different aesthetics. Some like mature women, some like young Lolita. Or the Black Dragon Lord likes to find silver dragon beauties, and the devil likes to find goddesses. There is no such thing. Gold is so simple, but there is no penalty even if it is not to your liking. Gu Jingwei is still feeling heartbroken because he sacrificed several elf beauties to the orc lord without getting any benefit. He also has a lingering memory of how he easily captured the favor of a perverted human lord with the dwarf beauties. The beauties were usually given as captives. If you use your own words, you have to endure the disaster of a sharp drop in satisfaction. Xiao Yunruo went to solo again, Mist Aaron was doing research again, Shen Xian arranged a long list of city construction tasks, and Ilya, who was running errands, was responsible for conveying them. The spire is under construction. Considering Miss Xiao's progress, it is necessary to give her some sweetness. The role of the spire is greater than that of the research institute. First of all, the magic recovery speed in the spire is 250% of the normal rate. At the same time, you can set spatial coordinates in the spire. As long as you use a space scroll, it will be transferred back directly. After the blacksmith shop is built, as long as he obtains MK's iron ore and copper ore, he will quickly cast a large amount of equipment. After a unit is equipped with armor and weapons, its strength is greatly improved, and it can even completely rely on sophisticated equipment to change the strength of the army. An alchemy laboratory was built, and goblin craftsmen were recruited to begin studying enchantments. With the cooperation of Mr. alchemy properties, I believe it won't take long for the results to be seen. After the cave is built, special earth dragons can be recruited to transport a large amount of resources. The transportation capacity of inferior demons is too low, and the most common solution is to form an earth dragon transport team. The caravan formed by MK arrived at Shen Xian's camp. Since it was the first transaction, MK came in person. He was very surprised to see Shen Xian's transport team. The transaction went smoothly. Jewish merchants have a very good reputation in the world. It was precisely because of this that Shen Xian traded with him. A large amount of gold reserves can cope with many special situations. If the gold exchange business of Shenhua Company had not been opened yet, he would definitely input a large amount of funds. The kingdom is worth his investment. As for black market transactions, he does not want to consider it for the time being. Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Bulletin Lao Bulletin Si Bulletin Me. Chapter 18. After MK left, Carlos came one after another. In fact, the rewards for newbie missions are no longer important. The key is the special missions released. Special missions have a chance of producing top quality equipment. The probability is 1%. If you work hard, you will always be rewarded. There are also blueprints and techniques that are priceless and are automatically divided according to the difficulty of the task. The arrival of the dragoon was full of courage. When he saw the beauties presented, Carlos smiled obscenely. They are all virgins. Player Lord, you have a great future. After saying that, he picked them up, placed them on the dragon's back, and left quietly. Players know how difficult it is to find a virgin among dark elves according to the settings, but these dark elves are different. They are newly recruited and absolutely rare. When he saw Carlos's expression, he knew that the matter was done. After handing in the task, he temporarily goes offline. When lunchtime comes, is it time for someone to fulfill their promise? Outside the bank. Wait a minute, Miss Xiao, in order to avoid other people's misunderstanding, I need to find another friend. Hearing Shen Xian's words, Xiao Yunruo couldn't believe that this duplicitous guy would really find someone to accompany him to avoid misunderstandings. Besides, she didn't care. Is Miss Xiao's reputation easily ruined? Sometimes her thinking is extremely sharp. Just as she expected, the person who came here turned out to be Gu Jingwei, one of the top 10 outstanding young leaders in the local area. Gu Jingwei looks like a decent person. He usually looks well dressed in suits and leather shoes. No one can imagine how crazy he looks when playing games. Unexpectedly, Xiao Yunruo had such a good impression of him, and Shen Xian felt like a failure. Gu Jingwei lives in the same city in Shanghai. His chubby figure is cute and honest, which makes people unable to feel alert. Although in the novel, 9 out of 10 fat people are geniuses with incredible IQs, some people actually believe it. Miss Xiao from Lock Consortium, fortunately, I'm glad to meet you. You and old Shen are so familiar with each other, and old Shen didn't even bother to tell me. The fat man laughed slyly, extremely attentive. She lowered her head in embarrassment and said, actually, we have nothing to do with each other. The fat man didn't care. He was most interested in gossip and scandals. The strange thing was that he had never been involved in it. He didn't know why. He smiled and praised, Miss Xiao, you are a well-known figure in Hichu University. China has had Nanhe River since ancient times. 2. As the saying goes in North Kunlun, you were born in Hichu, and Lao Shen and I were born in Kunlun. Xiao Yunruo nodded, so you all graduated from Kunlun University. Then she turned to Shen Xian and said, I thought you were from Pheasant University. He broke into a cold sweat after hearing this. When he was leaving, Mr. Huang was smiling. He didn't care whether he was absent from work or not. He only wanted to satisfy Miss Xiao. As for the other employees who were probing around, Mr. Huang became so domineering that the onlookers disappeared without a trace. Gu Jingwei drove to the prime location in the city center in only 10 minutes. Located in the central business district, Zixiao Pavilion is majestic. Its signature inscriptions, iron paintings, and silver hooks, were written by a generation of people. A few dishes cost Miss Xiao thousands of dollars of pocket money. There is no doubt that rich people use it this way. What surprised Xiao Yunruo was that the huge-looking Gu Jingwei ate slowly and the slender-looking Shen Xian devoured the food. Is the world in chaos? Or maybe he did it on purpose. I said, you don't have to look like this if you think it's delicious. Leave some for me to eat, I haven't eaten it yet. After the girl finished speaking, she stretched out her chopsticks to pick up the food, but Shen Xian had already taken the lead. Haha, Miss Xiao, you eat too much, it's not good for your figure. Xiao Yunruo thought to herself, you know clearly that I am not in good shape, but you still don't let me eat. If I don't eat, I won't get fat. How can I get bigger if I don't get fat? This is the true thought in Xiao Yunruo's heart. In fact, she cares about her figure very much. Which woman doesn't care about her figure? Seeing that the two of them were arguing, Gu Jingwei said, Old Shen, the 3 young heads of the Zushan Guild closest to you are not doing well. Do you want to help them? The Guild of All Heavens has 5 million members, ranking in the prehistoric times and ranking 3rd in China after the destruction of the world. Guild of All Heavens. Gu Jingwei, do you know the boss of the Guild of All Heavens? Xiao Yunruo knew several famous guilds in China. When she heard that Gu Jingwei knew several famous figures, her image of the fat man suddenly grew taller. The fat man replied, yes, but you don't know that there are 3 young masters under the shadow of the president of the All Heavens Guild, called Mad Confucian, Demonic Buddha, and Demonic Taoist. They are all young. 3 generations of our ancestors have been in business. The lowest deposit in the bank is 10 digits. People are so infuriating. When Xiao Yunruo heard the number of deposits, she thought about how much she had to pay for a meal. However, thinking about the battle just now, she still found it quite satisfying. What do you think happened to them? We encountered some trouble. Fatty smiled. They did a mission and accidentally killed the prince of a small country in the surface world, and then... No way, it's actually this mission. The chance of getting it is only 1 in 10,000. 3 out of 10,000, there are 3 people. I remember during the closed beta, the Norwegian player Loki died miserably because of this mission. Every day, the small country would devote all its strength to revenge. The first time, 100 level 10 infantry, and the second time, 100 level 10 infantry plus 100 level 10 spearmen. Loki persisted until the 5th wave, and the level was extremely high, but they were still drowned by the human sea tactics. There is no way. The mid-level priests and several hired assassins from the Church of the Dawn Goddess in the surface world will be difficult to surround and kill if there are no masters to match them. However, the difficulty of the mission has been reduced. So you have to go. The productivity of hundreds of Zushin members within 100 kilometers of the 3 bosses has been fully mobilized, and the efficiency is super high. The difficulty is reduced, the duration of the stalemate is longer, and the experience and reputation are more, and then new regional tasks can be triggered. Interesting, I can search for a lot of experience if I go. Shen Xian agreed without thinking. Looking at Xiao Yunruo's confused expression, is it strange that I know the crazy Confucian, the demon Buddha, and the demon Taoist? Strange, Miss Xiao nodded seriously. Or, you can learn from them and help improve your solo level. Really? Can they withstand my beating? Nonsense, they are all strong men who can fight thousands of people with one. The equipment, level, and technology are all very good. In fact, Miss Xiao's level is still good. She can enter the game studio in this area, get a guaranteed monthly salary, and live the life of a professional player, but in front of the old bird who has been immersed in the game for more than 10 years, she is still a little naive. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online game Dungeon Master. Author, Buletin Lao Buletin Si Buletin Me. Chapter 19. After dinner, of course, we continued playing games. Only white-collar workers who work all day worry about work. For Shen Xian, games are work. Mist Erlin seems to have something to report again. Xiao Yunruo saw that the girl had something to say, so she pushed her to Shen Xian and asked generously, "What do you want to report?" "Ms. Dark Batian, you don't have enough authority, I can't tell you." The girl said something that made Miss Xiao bleed. "Mist Erlin, how can you be like this?" Xiao Yunruo hugged Mist Erlin in grief and indignation, threatening, "Is my relationship with you not as good as my relationship with him?" Shen Xian thought to himself, is there any need to say it? Mist Erlin is a special unit that he cultivated since childhood, and he has added goodwill and loyalty several times. How can you easily win her over? After Shen Xian agreed, Mist Erlin announced the answer: Wizard Enhancement, Primary. Wizard Enhancement, Primary, Technology. Let the Wizard Apprentice accept the trial of Shadow Spells, upgrade level 5, obtain Shadow type primary magic, and the authority to equip robes and magic wands. Technology can be divided into several categories according to its rarity. For example, popular technology can be developed by everyone through independent research and can also be purchased. There are also authorized technologies, which are usually mastered by some forces and widely disseminated, limited to friendly forces, and require long-term research or special tasks to meet reputation and other requirements. As for patented technology, it is priceless, such as the taming method of a certain monster, the manufacturing steps of a certain alchemical puppet, which are all things that can attract NPCs. If properly protected, they can rise to prominence, but if not, they will attract bees and butterflies and bring disaster to the door. After the wizard enhancement is researched, the wizard apprentice can directly upgrade the level to 5, which is equivalent to about 100 more lives, about 100 magic, and the advantages of attack and defense. The problem is that wizard enhancement requires equipment matching, like a novice is born with a novice outfit, and a dragon rider is born with a flying dragon. The wizard apprentice must be equipped with 2 items before the enhancement can be completed. Demon robe, normal, defense 10, wisdom 5. Coarse wooden staff, normal, attack 5, wisdom 3, constitution 3. The primary enhancement of wizard apprentices requires the cooperation of demon robes and coarse wooden staffs. Mist Erlin continued, coarse wooden staff, the production cost is 10 wood, 1 magic crystal ore, 2 minutes, and the condition is alchemy laboratory. Demon robes cannot be made at present, lacking the necessary cloth source. Cloth? There are a lot of them on the surface world, but unfortunately there are too many profiteers on the surface world. I need to think about it. Compared with wizard enhancement, primary, Shen Xian remembered that there was another technology that needed to be used more, military training, a total of 10 levels, each level can increase the unit level by 2. The possibility of researching it is very high, which is conducive to quickly improving the overall strength of the unit. However, even incomplete enhancement is enough to improve the strength of the wizard by a level. The production type wizard apprentices all enslave 4 inferior demons, and the combat type also bring 4 small fire demons, which has increased the efficiency by 33%. Just looking at the data, it is already a qualitative change. After dinner in the evening, Shen Xian remembered that there were still things to do with the 3 masters of the world, so he hurriedly contacted them and learned that their mission would start at 9 o'clock in the evening. Therefore, he would first go to the Fallen Temple. At his current level, although it takes a long time to move dozens of kilometers, it is acceptable. Moreover, the Fallen Temple is the main city of the system, where you can easily receive countless unimaginable tasks and buy the coveted equipment. As long as you have strength and gold, no one will care even if you want to do romantic things there. As long as there is a demand, you can even easily find countless beauties from the human race, elf race, beast race, blood race, and demon race for you. When you enter the room, you can pick them for you. Of course, Shen Xian would not do such a thing. First, he had no money and power in the game, and second, he couldn't handle the mislin around him, so why should he look at the bowl and think about the pot? You said Miss Xiao? Shen Xian didn't see her feminine place and ignored it directly. In addition, they also need to contact several heads of Zushan. They have a good relationship. In terms of seniority, Shen Xian and Zushan's president Yingzi are fellow brothers, and he has a master-disciple relationship with the 3 heads. For such a good thing, regardless of interests, they should contribute morally. The Fallen Temple is not far from them. If they have a flying dragon, they can get there in more than 10 minutes. Although the Fallen Temple is huge, it actually has countless branches. The peak fortress is built on the first floor of the underground world. At first glance, it seems to be suspended in the void, and there is a deep abyss under the feet. Dark, dead, and evil breath gushing out from time to time. It was like being in an ancient arena, with tall pillars of different styles everywhere, starting from the surface world, gradually going down, surrounding the inverted mountain. The main body of the fortress with a huge top and a pointed bottom surrounded it, and there were several rocks suspended in the void around the inverted mountain, about 100 meters long, with countless walls, towers, and castles built on them, all of which consumed tens of millions of stones and were built with the mysterious spells of demon wizards. The dragon cavalry formed patrols and flew back and forth. In the misty darkness, the huge thunder beasts made a deafening and terrible roar. As the looming fog of war dissipated, countless barbarians wielding battle axes appeared in front of everyone, as well as countless monsters and siege machines. Above the head, there are suspended stairs connected to the ground by space magic buildings. There are countless labyrinth-like passages. Under the influence of illusion, it is like being in the starry sky and unable to see anything. According to the bards in the surface world, the peak fortress was transformed by barbarians who were seduced by the devil. There is the corrupted heroic spirit of Barasa, the barbarian lord, and it is the 5 barbarian lords in addition to the barbarian holy mountain. One of the cities, it contains the advanced martial arts and enchanted equipment that countless warriors dream of, as well as the gold and jewelry they plundered from the surface world. As long as someone can break through this place, they will be able to become rich and powerful. God knows who can break it. Not to mention the huge fallen temple behind the peak fortress, the millions of barbarian warriors here alone are enough to sweep the world. Weak barbarian warriors can easily kill dozens of skeleton soldiers, and powerful barbarian warriors have mastered the secret of fighting spirit, enough to cause damage to saints with divine protection. Nowadays, there are many players who can reach the peak fortress. Some like to take risks. You can find many special tasks here, such as exploration and hunting. They are very challenging and the rewards are quite rich. Some are and similar to Shen Xian, he needs to go to the peak fortress to purchase items, equipment, etc. In the store, the cheapest and most rubbish equipment was at level 8, which made Xiao Yunruo speechless. It was nothing to Shen Xian, because he had already seen it for a long time and would not respond in any way. Mr. Aaron, how about we ask Shen Xian to buy me this ring? Xiao Yunruo grabbed Mr. Aaron and whispered. The cruelty of Sparta? Even if you sell it, I can't even afford it. Shen Xian smiled and said, this ring is the treasure of the store. The unit price is 1 million gold. Mr. Aaron, you won't let me, it's difficult, right? Spartan brutality, epic, defense 200, attack power 450, constitution 150, strength 100, agility 100, attack enhancement 25%, condition level 50. The girl nodded and said, yes. Of course Xiao Yunruo was very dissatisfied. Mr. Aaron, do you know that it is natural for men to buy things for girls, especially when he wants to chase you? But Mist Line is the property of Master Shen Xian. You have the right to pursue freedom, Xiao Yunruo said angrily. Unfortunately, as mentioned before, it is not that easy to influence NPCs. The standard background of the fantasy world is the Middle Ages, so how can there be such terms as human rights, freedom, and equality? In the end, Miss Xiao failed. Online game DungeonMaster. Author, Bulletin Lao Bulletin Si Bulletin Me. Chapter 20. Peak Fortress, War Square. A statue of the god of war over 10 meters high stands in the center of the square. Players who enter the square will enjoy the war aura of 40% enhanced attack power and 20% enhanced defense power. Although the statue is powerful, it is expensive. It takes hundreds of thousands of stones to make it. After it is made, the stones need to be processed. The technology contained in it is not available to ordinary players. Around the square, the cross street extends in 4 directions. The outer periphery is an endless abyss, and the inner part is a city wall fortress. It can be said that the square is built on a cliff. Browsed several ordinary shops outside the war square and purchased several valuable equipment. Shen Xian is a lord and does not need attack power, so heavy plate armor is most suitable. Steel cast armor, ordinary, defense 15, constitution 6, spirit 2, life enhancement 5%, condition level 8. The price of 700 gold made it painful, but thinking of the benefits of being alive, he still endured it. The magic equipment of the peak fortress is very few. Barbarians rarely have magicians. Those who have them are witch doctors who are proficient in witchcraft. The bookstore sells various martial arts books, magic books, and other books such as geography, history, and customs. The more books there are in the library, the more help it will be to Xiao Yunruo. Martial arts books, magic books, and other books with obvious functions are more expensive, while literature and religious books are cheaper. The Three Dwarf Musketeers and the Earl of Heaven Mountain? The game company is too funny. They actually changed the Western classics and used them, Xiao Yunruo said after flipping through a few books. Cheap goods are not good, Miss Xiao, what can you expect from a book that can be bought with a few gold coins? This Peak Fortress magic projection map is worth a lot of money, 300 gold coins, but it records the locations of hundreds of taverns, guilds, and recruitment offices. If you just ask for directions, I don't know how long it will take to find it. And this military training, a technical book, can upgrade the units in the territory by up to 20 levels when it is fully upgraded. It is common for all races and territories. I found the last one in the corner. Shen Xian was quite proud. In fact, although military training is very common, there are still a number of refreshes every day. Players who like to speculate will wait at the door of the bookstore. As long as it is refreshed, they will buy it immediately and sell it online, which can make a lot of money. When you come to the tavern, this is a place where NPC units and players gather. If you have a task to do, you will definitely find helpers here. Of course, the most important thing is that you can recruit elite units and hero units here, and they also come with skills and free equipment. If you can convince the NPC to help you, you will make a lot of money. Ogre player I Love Little Red Flower, China, was unlucky. He came to the tavern and was supposed to meet the person assigned to him, but he was waiting for a cute and charming ogre lady. Sister, I'm only 15 years old and still in high school. You really can't follow me. I Love Little Red Flower said pitifully. He was really in high school. He heard that he could have sex in realm. If he was killed by her, he would be too ashamed to see anyone. However, the ogre lady did not let go. As an elite unit, she had a strong temper and would definitely not let go of what she wanted to do. At level 60, she had tens of thousands of lives and was not afraid of anyone coming to kill her. It's okay. Sister really likes you. As long as you feed me, I will give you happiness. After the ogre lady finished speaking, she looked at I Love Little Red Flower with affection, and his legs trembled and he almost fell to the ground. Big sister, how much food do you need to eat every day? Not much, 200 is enough. Damn, so much, even the dragons are inferior. I Love Little Red Flower was obviously frightened by the bold style of the ogre's sister. Miss Ogre hugged him and said, I am very strong. You know, I can fight several red dragons with a food intake of 100. I Love Little Red Flower encountered an NPC entanglement, and thought it would be great if it was the ogre brother, a level 60 elite unit with at least 50,000 life and at least 6,000 attack. I would kill Buddhas and gods. Why is it miss? Why am I so handsome? I Love Little Red Flower thought painfully. When I was tortured by her, I finally saw the savior Shen Xian. Little Red Flower, why are you like this? Looking at Little Red Flower, who was twice as tall as himself, and Miss Ogre, who was 10 times more powerful than himself, he immediately understood the reason. Shen Xian came here to meet the 3 masters of Zushan. He had taught them the game, so they knew each other. As for I Love Little Red Flower, he is actually the cousin of the demon Buddha. He is studying in a private high school and has no time to invest in the game. He usually runs away. Ordinary players may also be lucky. Whether it is a magic weapon or a special task, it is quite good to be noticed by NPCs. What's more, Miss Ogre is well equipped, whether it is a rare level long-handled battle axe, or an excellent level full-body breastplate, and the qualification of a C-level mercenary in the Mercenary Guild, which is a good thing no matter how you look at it. Shen Xian comforted, don't worry, Little Red Flower, can Miss Ogre still eat you? Little Red Flower shouted in her heart, Boss Shen, I don't worry about anything, I'm just afraid that she will eat me. I am a pure virgin, how can I give my first time to a virtual character casually? Don't call me Miss Ogre, I have a name. Una. Miss Ogre seemed to have identified Little Red Flower, and the players around her felt pity and jealous for her. Under Shen Xian's persuasion, I Love Little Red Flower finally accepted Una. With 200 units of food per day, Shen Xian would have a hard time. However, such a thug is rare, with a chance as low as 1 in 100 million. Who would have the heart to give up? Set off for the territory of the 3 masters, the Barbarian Fortress. The characteristics of the fortress are that it has a fast dispatch speed and daily resource supplies. Players who like war do not need to consider production after choosing the fortress, but only need to complete the NPC's tasks. Generally speaking, there are large-scale dark passages near the birthpoint of the fortress, and the adventure teams and armies of the surface world can easily enter the underground world and cause damage to the dungeon. The fortress is dependent on the NPC forces. If it is not dependent, where will the resources come from? Therefore, unlike the dungeon, players can attack and plunder at will. If the mission fails, the punishment is quite severe. Fortunately, the three masters are not fighting alone. From time to time, there will be guild members involved. It is not free. As long as they participate in the battle, they can gain experience.